A Day in the Life of a Coal Miner by Joe McPherson, Joey Face Creations. Growing up in the shadows of coal mining shafts, circa 1950s and 60s, a kid not unlike myself from the Bridgeport Roads could count on an education of unique and explicit local languages, as well as the ways of life, as only one group of special, earthly connected tradesmen, known as hardly as coal miners, could transcend them. As a boy bantering about the neighborhood, I remember quite vividly the never-ending stories swapped usually at local chat sessions, not scheduled, but regular, perhaps on the front step, in any backyard, in a horse barn, a barber shop, a corner store, a ball field, around the car on chuck blocks, or just about any gathering spot in the hood. There was most definitely a commonality when it came to the terminology used to describe the daily incidents, such as the practices used, the tools handled, the skill sets necessary, since the intertwined stories of the daily underground workings discussed had its own special vocabulary, unique to the industry of which they were so much an integral part as they toiled deep down within the damp and dusty trappings of the collieries, was the special language commonly used and understood by the mining fraternity and widely understood as pit talk. In the deeps of the collieries and all over the coal fields of home, as I, during my school days, practiced the ABCs and gazintas in class, I always paced time, yearning for face time with this wide array of courageous, life-educated, pit-wise articulating storytellers, the men of my neighborhood, my own wall of coal miners. At first, this language was second nature to them, or seemed second nature to me, seemed a bit foreign, yet as interesting as the stories would be, those working words would become so much more clear and understood as the dust and the dirt of the repetition settled in and a visualization of the stories emerged from the darkness of the mines. As they bantered among themselves, if you watched closely, the grimaces, the gestures, the body language, listened with the keen senses, paid close attention to the mannerisms, and were not afraid to get a splash of blood on you, a little bit of muck in your eye, and hear a cuss word in just about every sentence. Okay, now you're about to enter that special world. However, to avoid for you and I to be fully more appreciative and visualize the realities of life down under, to truly gain a full respect for what was what, who was who, and what were we going to be handling down there, we shall chance to do what they do, take their journey to that far down underworld, the dark and dingy, black and dusty depths of the earth, more commonly known as the deeps. We begin our journey into the daily routine followed many years ago by each and every miner as we arrive at the washouts. With a towel tightly wrapped deep into our arse pocket, we are met with a billow of steam, chirping of birds, and the odor of dampness and mist, the result of the most recent crew of miners who have come to the surface just minutes ago and are now in those showers. Walking through the rows of green benches, we reach the location where we find our own personal hook, which is strung high in the rafters of the ceiling of the washhouse. Once released from the rack, down come the hangers carrying our pit clothes, which we'll for now change into preparation for our shift. Once we get out of our street clothes, the work gear is laid out one piece at a time, and we'll don each piece of the paraphernalia. The long johns, the pit socks, the pit shirt, the overalls, the pit jacket, the pit boots, the web belt, the pit cap, and on and on. And then we'll restring our civvies onto the hook, rehoist it back into the air, and then put our lunch can under our arms, and we'll head out for the lamp house. When we get to the lamp house, we'll probably have a last smoke before we head out, and then we'll exchange our check number for a lamp from the lamp keeper, and he'll hang our check number on the board showing that we've checked in, are heading down under, and it will remain there until we return. Now, as we make our way to the bankhead where we await the arising cage, also known as the rake, coming up the shaft from the pit bottom, we can hear the cranking, winding, clanking of the bull wheel with the extended steel cable grinding its way to the top. With a loud and thunderous clunk, Scrunk and squeal, the cage has reached the surface. The huge, heavy mesh steel door lifts open, and we're met by a crew of black-faced miners, tired and hungry, only the whites of their teeth smiling at us as they whisk crisply out of the rake and make their way to the hot and steamy showers at the washhouse. A few brief exchanges of laughter, idle chatter, and acknowledgment of each other's role reversals, and then, with the cage refilled, it's our gang who's heading down to the land where no sun shines. We're heading for pit bottom. Once the signal is given to the hoistman, it is he who controls the ups and downs of the cage, and so with a sudden clank and shiver the cage begins its journey as it descends quite briskly, about 1,000 feet below the surface, and as the air begins to feel thicker and moister and heavier, we soon reach the pit bottom, and the big cage elevator comes to a sudden rollicking halt. This new world, the world of which only mining men can appreciate, has now been entered. So if you dare, the next leg of our trek rolls diagonally out, way out, under the millions of tons of pressurized rock and coal under the cold deeps of the Atlantic Ocean. We check in with the overman's shack and we get our assignments, and with our buddies, we all as an entire crew head out for the journey to the wall. Up the slant, over the level, we climb into the empty man rake and this time signal to the dieselman to head out. It's a fair ride out to the wall, which we are currently working on, which again will take us much further out under the ocean and to the actual production area where we will mine coal for the night. Now, as we reach the invite, we organize our specific tasks, as each job has its own title, responsibilities, and routines, and all must work in harmony with each other to assure a safe and proper workplace. This is the place where coal gets mined, and we are going to be a part of getting that black gold from amidst its solid placement, buried deep in those chasms, and then on its way to the surface and beyond. From the directions of the overman, the underground manager, the shot firer, the drillers, the brushers, the barefaced miners, this is where the action is. This is the scene of the grime. The drillers will bore holes deep into the formations in preparation for the shot firers to load the powder in caps and ready the area for a charge. Once all the shots are filled, the gas levels checked and double-checked and triple-checked, and if clear, he'll give the signal, clear the area and let her go. He'll detonate the charge and blast the coal from the face of the wall. The blast then will leave a void called the gob, which must be secured, chucked, and cleaned up. Brushers are assigned to keep the roof, sides, and floor of all of the passages in good shape, and he must be a highly skilled man at his job and be an experienced miner. Booms and chucks are used to secure the roof to prevent any creeps, or fouls as they're called, and to ensure that to the best of their ability that we all stay safe and secure while we now begin to extract the coal that we have unearthed from its centuries-old tombs. Once the coal face has been blasted, the loaders begin the process of loading the coal into the boxes, which are connected by the chain runners, and once filled, removed on a small-scale rail system out to the level where they will begin the journey up and out of the mine and to the surface. Tonight in our location, the diesel isn't working, but we do have a lot of horsepower to enable our plenty-filled coal boxes to be moved. Yep, we have our own team of fabled pit ponies assigned to us, with a driver, as the source of strength to get our coal out and headed up. At one time, not now, however, the drivers of the pit ponies was the job for the younger boys in the mines. However, we don't make use of child labor here, so an older, more mature, and closer to retirement age miner gets that chore. As they head the trip out towards the level, the trapper, again, many years ago, would be just a boy, is stationed at the underground doorways, and he will hear us coming, and with the speed and accuracy, open and close the passageways, which must be kept well regulated, because this whole process allows for the proper movement of air into and out of the mine working areas, and constant circulation of air is critical to the movement. These passages are normally kept closed except for the movements of these trips, and on their way out to the level to the pit bottom, where they then must make their way to the surface by way of the shaft. The shaftman will continue working and hauling those boxes two at a time up to the surface. With the power of the bull wheel, the huge winch and cable hoist mechanism, he will bring the loaded boxes up and send them out to the bankhead, where they'll be weighed, checked, the numbers etched on the sides of the boxes, assigned to the men who mine the coal. The check weighman will record this and ensure that those crews are credited with the tonnage. The boxes are then switched over, sent back to the cage area, and dropped back down to be refilled by us miners. With our shift now at the midway point or better, all the stone dusting is packed and ready for the next shot. This will be a good time to grab some well-earned rest. So let's grab our cans, find a dry spot where we can sit, replenish our bellies. For sure we've earned it. It's been a busy shift so far. With the whole crew now seated and the real pit talk beginning, first thing we hear, more commonly at this point, "Hey man, what's in your can, bye?" For most of us, until we unlock the snap or loosen the belt around the can that's held tightly closed to keep out any unwanted guests, we are as surprised as most. Because the wife usually packs it, and until now it remains a mystery. "Got anything good in her tonight, bye?" As you unravel the wax paper, the first aromas of what's in your can become fully apparent. And at this point, being in the world's most famous restaurant would not compare to the delicacies that are found beneath the well-wrapped goodness. Sandwiches, anything from sardines to bully beef, ham and cheese, peanut butter and jam, leftovers of all types and flavors. For the next 20 minutes or so, you're in the land of milk lunch, coal smelt, bacon powder biscuits, molasses cookies, all of this and so much more. Tasted and traded with your buddies and washed down most likely with a warm sweetened tea, almost kept lukewarm and housed inside a green quart bottle, which perhaps a few weeks ago was filled with 99-cent wine, but now stands in for a homemade thermos bottle. Ah, this smooth liquid now becomes the nectar of the gods, and as you wash down that so enjoyable lunch, as well as the built-up coal dust that just happens to have been added to your lunch and inside your cheeks, altogether, this is your lunch. You are now filled up, your belly satisfied and somewhat invigorated. It's now time to get ready for mining once again. Oh, don't forget, you've got to leave something in your can, because when you get home, first one that gets to see you wants to know that if there's a treat there, it's theirs. So don't forget. Now that we're rested, we're going to be at this point snacked up, bellies full. We're going to continue with the chores at hand. That is mining coal. So we get back to the boring, blasting, cutting, brushing, chucking, loading, and all-out production of coal at tons at a time, and filling up box after box, sending them again out to the level, up the shaft that will haul them to the surface to be weighed, dumped, and the bankhead returned to be filled once more. The process of mining coal now has given us a sense of just what it takes to be a miner, to do this type of work and to ensure that we get through the process in this very dark and dangerous environment, so far underground, well known and commonly described as the deeps. It's getting close to quitting time. Our shift at the face is all but complete for tonight. So with the care and control of our relative positions, we ensure that all the gear we've used during the shift is placed where the next gang will have access to it, tidy up the junk and debris, and say so long to the face. We head out back through the levels, up the deeps, and out to the rake, where we'll catch a ride on the man cars to take us to the pit bottom and await the next lift to the surface. Time to share a few jokes with the boys, a few stories about the wife and kids, what's on for the weekend, perhaps what's on the honey-do list. Getting close to winter, time to bank the house, I would say. Gather some wood and stuff like that for the winter. "Anyone going to Iggy's Saturday night for a few ales, bye?" echoes a voice from the crowd. "Yeah, if the wife will let you," retorts another. As the chatter grows, the cage opens, and in we pile till the cage is full, and away we head back to the surface, to the bankhead, and over to the lamp house, where once again we exchange in reverse the lantern for our check number, and then over to the wash house for a shower. Tired, dirty, black as soot, and with a hungry belly, perhaps chewing on something you grabbed from the pickings from inside your can, you head to the steaming hot, full pressure blast of the shower. Ah,